What's going on, guys, and welcome to my Friday Night SmackDown audio review for July 12, 2024. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoying your weekend so far. Following a string of strong SmackDowns leading into Money in the Bank, I thought this week's show was a slight step back from what we've been getting as of late. Not to say this was a bad show. I thought this was a fairly average episode of the Blue brand, but not nearly as exciting as what we were getting kind of leading into Money in the Bank. But at the same time, though, we got some decent matches, several storyline developments, and specifically in regards to SummerSlam in the women's division, in the mid-card division, and the main event scene as well, with the WWE Championship and United States Championship matches almost all but being made official for SummerSlam. I don't know if we officially got the graphic yet for either matchup. Maybe we didn't. I missed it. But as of right now, I don't know if they're officially on the docket, but they will be. That being Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa for the Undisputed WWE Championship, and Logan Paul defending the United States Championship against LA Knight. So let's get started here. Opening up the episode was the new Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton. Addressing her victory, she was soon interrupted by Bayley and Nia Jax, all exchanging words. Tiffany and Nia actually teamed up on Bayley, and they left Bayley laying. Nia exited the ring, and I thought Tiffany might turn on Nia, attack her with the briefcase, because they've been teasing an alliance as of late. They actually are best friends, and I don't know about best friends, but really close in real life. They became friends earlier this year. I talked to Tiffany about it, and she mentioned that they became fast friends on the flight to Australia for Elimination Chamber, actually. So they brought that friendship and alliance to TV, which is cool. I thought they might end it prematurely by having Tiffany attack Nia here with the briefcase, getting her out of the ring, and attempting to cash in on Bayley, and Nia would stop her. Thankfully, that did not happen. I think it would be way too soon to have Nia and Tiffany implode. They should build to that. Doesn't have to be 6 to 9 months, but not right now. They just recently joined forces. There was no reason to kind of throw that alliance away. For a failed cash-in or an attempted cash-in, you can hold off on that for a little bit later on. But the question kind of looming over the WWE Women's Championship match at SummerSlam as it currently stands is, will Tiffany cash in? Mid-match, not beforehand, but mid-match or afterward. We saw that same scenario at SummerSlam last year, actually, with the women. Bianca Belair became WWE Women's Champion in that triple threat with Asuka and Charlotte, and then Io immediately cashed in on Bianca and became champion. Do they repeat that same angle a year later? I don't think they will, and I don't think they should. I feel like that would be a waste. To do the exact same thing they did a year ago in this respect, when Tiffany, I don't think should be champion by SummerSlam anyway. She can be. But honestly, I never would have said this even a year or two ago, but Nia has done such strong work for her, to her credit, since coming back to the company back in the fall, that I think she deserves a little bit of a run as the WWE Women's Champion. She was the Raw Women's Champion many years ago. She's been Tag Team Champion a couple times since then, but she really hasn't had a real title run since then, and she didn't really, not that she didn't deserve it then, she was getting over as a babyface, and it was the right outcome to put the belt on her back at WrestleMania 34, beating Alexa Bliss. But I think with the heel work that she's done in the last year since coming back, getting into great shape, doing some of the best in-ring work of her entire career, including NXT, I think she's in line for a little bit of a run with the championship. She doesn't have to hold the belt from SummerSlam to Mania. I'm honestly kind of hoping she doesn't, but that's not to say Tiffany can't cash in later on. She can always cash in. That's what I mean. Like, Nia doesn't have to be champion from SummerSlam to Mania, because Tiffany can always cash in and become champion at some point before Mania, end of the year, early 2025, around Royal Rumble, whatever they want to do, or even after Mania. I don't know if I would hold off on that for that long, because I'm not really sure what the championship picture might look like. But my point is, they can go a little bit further with the Nia and Tiffany alliance by holding off on Tiffany cashing in for the foreseeable future. So I thought that was well done. Michin did make the save for Bayley, so Tiffany's cash-in never happened because Tiffany was about to cash in. Nia kind of told her not to, and and I thought that was interesting too, because if Tiffany were to become champion in that moment, let's say, it wouldn't affect Nia Jax getting her title shot at SummerSlam. She's already the number one contender. She will be number one contender. She won the Queen of the Ring tournament a couple months ago. My only explanation is that she didn't want to face her friend at SummerSlam. She doesn't want to throw away their friendship for Tiffany becoming champion just yet. She wants Tiffany by her side, but not necessarily being a threat. And that might become a problem down the road, but not right now. So like I said, Michin made the save for Bayley. We had Nia Jax and Michin coming out of the commercial break, which was already a match made official coming into the show as of a week ago. They had a good match. This was better than the match they had About a month or so ago, Michin's had matches with Tiffany lately and Nia Jax, and they were pretty short squashes. Nothing really worth writing home about. But this was more competitive. Michin looked good. I thought they had a fine, well-worked match. And Nia went over decisively, as she should, heading into her championship opportunity at SummerSlam. In another match that was made official a week ago for this SmackDown, Legado del Fantasma's Angel and Berto taking on Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin in tag team action. It came out, I think, in the last week and a half. Angel actually signed a new contract extension with WWE. Angel Garza, that is. Signing a 3-year deal he confirmed in an interview or on Instagram or whatever it was. Berto, I think his contract also expires soon. I would be surprised if he left and Angel stayed. And I'm glad they're staying. They've gotten a renewed push as part of Legado. Way more direction and TV time than they've gotten in the past fucking 4 or 5 years. So I'm glad they're staying put. Angel did pick up the win for his team here in what was a nice match. Corbin getting the crowd behind him, to his credit. I think Corbin works well in the babyface role. He got over as a babyface in NXT towards the end of his run there recently. But there's always the question of how many people actually pay attention to NXT, how many people give a fuck about NXT, currently watch the product, whatever. How many people are aware of what's going on down there? And at least enough people were aware of what Corbin was doing down there to get behind him here. And even if they weren't, Corbin does the babyface thing well. We have not seen babyface Baron Corbin ever. Really ever. So I think it's a nice, refreshing change of pace for him to be doing something new that's not gimmicky either. It's not King Corbin. It's not, broke-ass Corbin, which was entertaining, but, he's always been a big gimmicky guy. Lone Wolf Corbin, which I enjoyed, but ever really since then, before the recent run in NXT, he was doing a lot of awful characters. King Corbin, Happy Corbin, Constable Corbin were all pretty bad, by and large, and really no through fault of his own. But I think he works well in this role. He did not win here, but we'll see where they go with it from here. Andrade was teasing a feud with Santos about a month ago. They were teasing, will he or won't he join Legado? And he said no. So it looked like we might get an Andrade-Santos match at some point. It doesn't look like they're going in that direction anymore. They still could, but it looks like based on a segment they showed here on the show, Andrade is headed for a match next week with Carmelo Hayes. Now, is that a full-fledged feud? Is that just a one-off match? We'll find out next week. Both guys are kind of directionless at the moment. It will be a good match, no doubt. I am kind of curious where they go with both guys from there, and if Andrade picks up where he left off from about a month ago with Santos. We had LA Knight out in the ring up next, getting a great reaction per usual, with a contract in hand, and you had to know exactly where this was going if you paid attention to the show from 2 weeks ago, when he pinned Logan Paul in that triple threat Money in the Bank qualifier, obviously a non-title match, but whether he was Mr. Money in the Bank or not, and obviously LA Knight as Mr. Money in the Bank would have been sick. If he had cashed in on the United States Championship, that would have been silly. But it does make sense, even without him winning Money in the Bank, for him to get a title shot at SummerSlam, having pinned the United States Champion in a triple threat 2 weeks ago. So Logan Paul was obviously not on the show, and that was what held up the match from being made official. He basically called out Logan Paul, said, show up to SmackDown next week. He is being advertised for next week, and we'll make this match official. Nick Aldis' name is on the contract. LA Knight's name is on the contract. I don't know why Logan Paul would need to sign the contract, because if he doesn't sign the contract, the match isn't happening. But if it's Nick Aldis' discretion for the match to happen, then you would think he doesn't need the signature. But they're just trying to drag it out a little bit longer. I understand that. But this was good. Quality promo from LA Knight. I am questioning, though, if he does walk out of SummerSlam as champion. I would pull the trigger then. Logan Paul has been champion for long enough. I haven't had a massive issue with this run. You see the tweets all the time on Twitter. What do you think of Logan Paul's United States Championship run? Not questions to me, but like questions that people pose just in general, really, for engagement and discussion. And everyone's been shitting on it, which I totally understand. And obviously 2 title defenses in 9 months is not ideal. But the end game always should have been. In my opinion, it should have been a Mania. But the end game always was LA Knight beating him for that belt. With Logan Paul having pinned him 2 weeks ago, do they do it at SummerSlam, or do they hold off until Bash in Berlin a couple weeks later? I would just do it at SummerSlam, but if they want to hold off a little bit longer and do it at Bash in Berlin, okay, but they do have to put the belt on LA Knight before long. Like, we need another active champion on the show. We need an active United States champion back on the blue brand, and LA Knight is that guy. We had Naomi taking on Blair Davenport one-on-one. I think they were both involved in that triple threat from 2 weeks ago. Blair Davenport was not pinned. Naomi pinned Indy Hartwell, I believe, in that Money in the Bank qualifier. And Blair's also been bothering Naomi and Bayley backstage for weeks now, so it kind of culminated with this match here. Perfectly fine match, nothing really out of the ordinary about it. Blair Davenport is really, really good in the ring. She hasn't really gotten a chance to do much of anything so far on SmackDown. They aired a vignette for her before the match, but it didn't end up mattering because she fucking lost. She lost clean. Now, Naomi had the shoulder tape on. She took a fucking hell of a beating in that women's Money in the Bank ladder match last week, which was a car crash of a matchup, for better or for worse. They put their bodies through hell in that match, which I applaud them for. But she had the out for losing here, and she still won. So Blair Davenport did attack Naomi backstage afterwards. She was like, oh, you were the better woman here tonight, and then it was obviously bullshitting, and then she attacked her anyway. So they could be heading into a rematch. But I think it would have been more beneficial for Blair had she just won here. Naomi could eventually avenge the loss, but Blair needs a win. She has yet to win a match since joining SmackDown. She has wrestled all of 2 televised matches on SmackDown since being drafted back in April or May or whenever it was. That Money in the Bank qualifier and here. And she lost both matches. She wasn't pinned the first time, but she was pinned here clean. It wasn't as if it was a fluky finish or there was interference or a DQ. She fucking straight up lost. The attack is a nice step in the right direction, but it's like 50-50 booking. Naomi's over. She'll be perfectly fine. But I just feel like it would have been... she has to win a match at some point, too. But I feel like it would have been better for Naomi to have lost here and give Blair the win as opposed to the other way around. We had the WWE Tag Team titles defended once again for the second straight week. DIY taking on the former champs, A-Town Down Under. Now, I had seen the tweet earlier in the day from @WrestleVotes, or some outlet or whatever. I think it was WrestleVotes, saying that the tag team title match would be happening tonight. And I don't know if they advertised it during the show itself. They probably did, and I missed it. But it wasn't the main event. It was the final match on the show, but it wasn't the main event like it was last week. I would have held off on this. I'm not really sure why they did that this week. I was hoping a week ago they would do the rematch at SummerSlam. Now, there's no doubt surrounding the outcome. DIY would retain. But at least in that scenario, you get DIY on the show, Johnny Gargano, a Cleveland native. He's on the card. At this rate, aside from Logan Paul, I don't know if anyone from fucking Ohio is going to be on the show. Johnny Gargano will not be at SummerSlam, it looks like. And someone had told me on Twitter, maybe DIY and the Profits. Why though? I know the Profits beat Pretty Deadly last week. They weren't on the show this week. They'd have to make that match make sense in 3 weeks' time, which they could. But that just seems random to me. At least with this match, they had more bad blood between the two teams, and they've been feuding for a few months now. It would have been perfectly fine had they held the rematch at SummerSlam, maybe 2 out of 3 falls, which is DIY specialty anyway. You have DIY win, and then Grayson Waller either portrays Austin Theory or vice versa. Probably the other way around because people are ready to cheer Austin Theory, I think, and him turning on Grayson Waller. But no, they did it here. There was more miscommunication between A-Town Down Under, leading to DIY hitting the Shatter Machine again, which was cool. I don't know if that's a regular move in their arsenal now. Maybe they hit it earlier on in the year and I just totally forgot, but they hit it last week. They hit it again here. Follow that up with Meet in the Middle, their tag team finisher, and won the match clean. So DIY still WWE Tag Team Champions. And there was no turn here. They did not have Austin Theory turn on Waller. Jacob Fatu came down to ringside and fucking destroyed everyone except for Grayson Waller. He left. So he kind of left Austin Theory in the path of destruction of Jacob Fatu on the show. He ran away. Theory ate the brunt of the offense from Jacob Fatu, as did DIY. They sold that attack great. Now, ideally, do you want your new WWE Tag Team Champions taking a massive beating by anyone? No, and I'm not condoning it. I didn't have a lot of love for that idea. But that being said, Jacob Fatu did come across great here, and it wasn't as if it was Omos or whatever, or any ordinary jabroni on the roster. This is a new debuting superstar that you're trying to make out to look like a badass, and I think so far they've succeeded. Jacob Fatu's amazing. He honestly doesn't really need to do much to come across like a star. We haven't heard from him a lot on the mic since he arrived, but from what we've seen from him in attacks and in the ring, even at Money in the Bank, the man has shined. Specifically here, he shined more here than he did doing anything that he did at Money in the Bank, aside from no-selling that Orton draping DDT, which was awesome. That was a great visual. But I think he did a better job of coming across like a total menace here by attacking DIY more than anything else that we've seen from him so far on SmackDown. including, I mean, maybe aside from the debut itself a couple of weeks ago was amazing. But this was great stuff. The attack from Fatu, attacking DIY again, not ideal, but maybe they're headed to Cody Rhodes and DIY versus the Bloodline in the next couple of weeks. If Orton's out of commission and Owens won't be back anytime soon, we'll see. But before we get to the main event involving the Bloodline, it wasn't a main event match, but a main event segment. Earlier in the show, we had Cody Rhodes sitting backstage with the belt right next to him. And they once again did an exceptional job of having Orton plant the seeds for that future, not only feud, but that fucking turn for the Undisputed WWE Championship. In that he said after this whole Bloodline war is over, and he kind of made it sound like there was a pause there, making it sound like I'm going to be coming for that championship, because he even said everyone in this locker room is coming for that championship. And he paused, and I thought he was going to say including me. Instead, he said, and I'll have your back when they do. It's like, okay, yeah, he'll have his back in the sense that he's going to fucking stab him in the back and go for that championship himself. How soon does that happen? Is that at SummerSlam? Is it after SummerSlam? I think it is soon after SummerSlam. I do think we get Roman Reigns back in the mix by SummerSlam, at SummerSlam itself, I would assume, to end the show. Great cliffhanger going into SmackDown the following week, and then you can transition into Orton and Cody for the fall. That's what I would do personally. I don't think we get Cody and Orton at Mania. That seems too far away. And it looks like we're getting Cody and The Rock at WrestleMania anyway. So that's what I would do, but I thought that was a great segment. That led into what we got at the end of the show here, with Cody Rhodes confronting the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa. The rest of the Bloodline was around ringside. Cody pretty much made it official. He agreed to defend the Undisputed WWE Championship against Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam. And they all went after Cody. They attacked Cody. Orton, like I said that he would have Cody's back. He did. He came out here, but also ate a beating from the Bloodline. It was put through the commentary table, which was a great angle because not only did they take turns beating him up, Jacob Fatu came across great and whatnot, and he took a crazy beating. But not only that, the commentary bump specifically, the commentary table bump, Orton's back was injured by the Bloodline 2 years ago, and that was what took him out of commission for a year and a half. So they're playing off the idea that they're targeting Orton's back again, his previously injured back, surgically repaired back. He could be out again for a while. He could be back as soon as next week, obviously, but I think that would be a waste. I think they wrote Orton off on purpose until after SummerSlam. And he can always blame Cody for not, he said he would have Cody's back, and Cody was obviously wrapped up in the ropes here. It's not as if Cody was a bad friend and chose not to help out Randy Orton. They were just merely outnumbered. Orton taking out Cody Rhodes wrapped up in the ropes. I thought that was very well done. A great segment to close the show, more heat on the Bloodline. And Owens was not here because they said earlier in the show that he just wasn't there. I think he was with his family. So Owens did say on last week's show that his mom was either in hospice or in the hospital. It was an emergency situation. So hopefully she's doing better. That's not a great sign if she still is in the hospital, but he'll talk about it when he feels comfortable to do so, and not that it's really any of her business anyway, but it is unfortunate he still, hasn't been around due to the fact that his family is clearly not doing well, so that's really sad. But hopefully she does better, she'll recover, and he'll be back soon, and, even if not, hopefully he takes the time to take care of that situation before coming back. They could be setting up for Jacob Fatu against Kevin Owens. It doesn't have to be at SummerSlam. That could be at some point down the road. Cody Rhodes, like I said, could be going at it alone going into SummerSlam, but it's also equally as logical. Granted, they're not Owens and Orton, but DIY could step up in their place to aid Cody Rhodes in his war with the Bloodline, considering Jacob Fatu attacked both Gargano and Ciampa after their title defense on the show. So we'll see. But I thought overall it was a good show, not a great show. I liked the show closing segment. The show opening segment was fine. The stuff in the middle was okay. The tag team title match was not on the same level as their match from a week ago. It wasn't given enough time. It wasn't the main event. Eaten up by a commercial break, but it was good. Naomi and Davenport was fine. I just didn't love the outcome. I don't really think that does much for Davenport at all, attack or not, backstage. The night promo was what it needed to be, setting up the United States Championship match for SummerSlam. Logan Paul will be back on SmackDown next week. And Legado knocking off Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin in tag team action was a perfectly well-wrestled match, and Corbin being over was cool. So, again, good show. Not a great show, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Thank you guys for checking out my review for the July 12th, 2024 edition of Friday Night SmackDown here on the channel. The written review should be up on WrestleRant.com sometime this weekend, so check it out. We will be back next Saturday with another audio review of the Blue Brand, so keep an ear and an eye out for that. And yeah, my SmackDown Lowdown review should be up tomorrow, so check that out as well here on the channel. Till then, guys, have an awesome one. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.